Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As always, it is Friday, which means another episode of Wandavision aired. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Wandavision, episode 5. Stop if you have not already seen it. I'm going to forewarn you now. We are going to be talking about major spoilers that have happened during the episode. So this is probably one of the most exciting ones we've seen to date. And I thought that episode 4 was pretty intense, but episode 5 definitely tops episode 4. So without further ado, we will get into the video. But as always, if you do like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. We do videos 2 to 3 times a week, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So kind of starts off with, you know, the babies, they don't want to go to sleep, and then it quickly morphs into Agnes coming over, and suddenly Vision doesn't want her to hold the babies, which is also kind of sketch and kind of weird. And at that point, then the twins all of a sudden magically turn into 5-year-olds, and Agnes doesn't kind of react. But at one point, she does look to Wanda and say, "Oh, is that not what we were supposed to do? Do you want to go back and retape that?" Which is very odd, and Vision is obviously confused because, what do you mean we should go back and retape it? What the heck is going on? So they play it off like no big deal. After we see that brief interlude, we quickly transition to back outside of Westview to Monica getting MRIs and blood tests being taken. And Agent Wu and Darcy are talking to her about what she experienced while she was in there. She basically explains that it's a lot of grief and it was a heavy feeling of being stuck somewhere that she couldn't get, and her thoughts kind of weren't her own. At this point, the lead guy, I'm kind of starting to distrust. I cannot talk tonight. He seems just, I don't know, there's something not right there. I haven't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I know I've said that in previous videos. I'm staying true to my thoughts. There's something shady about him. But Monica goes on to involve and explain that she doesn't think Wanda is dangerous. She's just so overcome with grief that she kind of set up her own perimeter to deal with her emotions, and that's how she's dealing with it. At this point, the lead agent in charge, I think it's Hathaway is his name. If it's not, I'll insert it here below. But it shows her surveillance footage of her breaking into the sword facility and stealing Vision's dead body, which is like kind of weird. And apparently it happened 9 days after, you know, everything kind of happened and exploded, so after Endgame, which is also very strange and weird. And why have we not been shown the footage before now is also suspect for me, and Monica seems to think so as well. And she doesn't really believe everything that's going on, and that, you know, basically she has the power to regenerate him. It doesn't seem likely, and it's a direct violation of the Sokovia Accords, which, as we know, big deal. Meanwhile, we go back and transition into Vision and Wanda's storyline. And they end up, the twins end up finding a dog, and they want to name it and they want to keep it. And Wanda tells them that, you know, Vision comes home and they're like, "No, you're not really ready for like, you know, the duties of having a dog." And the twins are like, "Okay, all right." And she's like, "Yeah, maybe when you're 10. So they decide to look at each other and speed up their growth process, which is crazy. So they are now 10 years old, and they are indeed now keeping the dog. There is something else then after the whole dog thing, which Vision and Wanda are pretty creeped out by the fact that they are, just by the time they're doing this, they're going to be like, they keep aging themselves 5 years. I mean, within a couple episodes, they could be 18, like already moving on with their lives, which is pretty strange. Darcy, at this point, we go back outside of Westview, and Darcy is explaining to Wu and to Monica that she calls the shape, or the hexagon, like, way that the perimeter is set up, she's calling it the hex, which they keep calling it all around campus. And Monica wants to go back in. They're like, "No, we don't even know if you'd be able to get back in. How would you go about doing that?" And she says it seems like everything that goes in just kind of morphs and adapts to that reality, so they want to test that. She then goes into the lab with Darcy and Wu, as we've all seen, and shoots at her pants, which I thought was like really ironic and kind of weird. And then we realize that it is a Kevlar made out of 70, I think it was like 75% Kevlar, which is crazy. So basically what she took in there still stayed with her, but the clothing changed to adapt the episode and the time frame that Wanda and Vision are currently living in. So she figures out at this point, obviously, as we see, that that means that something else can go in. We then break away and go back to Vision. He's at work, and the twins immediately think it's weird that he's at work since it's a Saturday, and it was just, no, excuse me. It was a Saturday this morning, and now all of a sudden Wanda's like, oh no, it's a Monday. And they're like, no, it was Saturday this morning. So it's kind of weird. And she's like, oh, well, we just, you know, he just needed a distraction. So Wanda literally just sent Vision to work and was like, go. But in here is where we get our next big takeaway chunk from the episode, where Vision gets a message from the computational services, which is where he's still working, and they see a message encoded from Darcy about her investigations with SWORD and trying to figure out what the heck is going on in Westview. And where that leads is to Vision actually touching Norm in this case and putting his fingers to his head, and all of a sudden Norm snaps out of the Wandavision reality and panics, is like, you got to get me out of here. I feel like I'm drowning in like grief, basically. I need to get out of here. What the heck? Please make her stop. You're the only one that can make her stop doing it. And then when Vision touches him again, he goes back to normal Norm. Vision at this point is obviously super paranoid and weirded out by it. Then we go back outside to Monica, and they decide they find a drone that is old that they used to use in the 80s, and they send it in. And at this point, Wanda and the twins hear the noise. They run outside, and Wanda sees the drone, and she immediately gets pissed and comes outside, because this is the first time we've seen her outside the force field in her normal Scarlet Witch red attire, and notably is mad because while she's in there, they tell the lead agent, Hathaway, I'm just gonna go with the Hathaway, tells them to take the shot while they're trying to talk to Wanda while she's still in Westview. So obviously big, major, I don't even know why you would do that. And at this point, Monica's pretty pissed because she's like, what the heck? That wasn't part of the deal. When they back out, it's interesting to see Wanda looking so much like herself, and basically she's saying, hey, you can't come in, and she gets pissed off, and she basically turns all the guns on Hathaway, and Monica's still trying to reason with her and explaining like, hey, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. You know I wouldn't have done that to you. So it's clear that Wanda kind of trusts her, but not to the level of extent that she's going to let anyone in or interfere with anything that's going on in Westview. She goes back in and creates a red boundary around the perimeter, which I think just enforces like the fact of her powers, and she's now made it stronger for them to get anything going in, basically, to what's going on. From there, we break into those lovely commercials, and this time it's for Lagos brand paper towels, which I did look that up because even though I love the MCU, I don't remember every single detail. And Lagos is actually after the Nigerian city that we talk about in Civil War, where Wanda goes on that mission with Captain America and Black Widow, and they are there to investigate Agent Rumlow, and that's when she pulls the gas out of the city. It is that one, so that is the reference to another point in her life when things kind of got wacky and wonky and weird. So that's a Captain America Civil War callback. So we're getting pieces of things all from their past kind of flowing through in different ways or another. And then when we break from there, when Wanda comes back, the twins are looking for their dog. They can't find it, and Agnes actually pulls it out of a bush and says that the dog's died, but she wraps it up, which is also weird, and we never saw the dog actually get killed. She claims it was killed by her azaleas, which is okay, sure, all right, whatever. And the twins want to know why Wanda won't basically bring their dog back to life, and she explains to them that that's not something she has the power to do, which is strange since she's creating an entire reality where that's basically what she's doing, and you know, manipulating Vision like he is still alive. When they get back to the house, Wanda and Vision get into an argument after they send the kids to bed about basically he wants to know what's the Maximoff anomaly, what's outside of Westview. He can't remember anything, and at this point they both get kind of like power heavy. It's strange. We haven't really seen that side of Vision. I mean, I've never seen Paul Bettany really as Vision get that pissed at her, and the fact that they're both lifted off the ground and both have their powers at this point was it was a pretty intense scene. It was a very, very good, loved it. I think it was a nice transition into what's going on and what's happening. And basically as the credits rolling, they're still arguing about what's going on, and he needs her to break him out of whatever it is, and he wants to know what's going on. As they're sitting down, you know, Wanda's trying to do that thing, and he's like, no, we're not watching television, we're talking about this, I need to know what's going on. The doorbell rings. And at this point, Vision has already accused her of kind of controlling everything, which Wanda thinks is absurd, which goes back to my theory that it's not all her. She says, you really think that I would be the one who'd control everybody and everybody's doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, everything. It's not all me, I'm telling you that right now. But she doesn't allude to the fact of what else it could be. Then the doorbell rings, and Vision looks at her like, seriously, come on, we're having a conversation. And Wanda says, it's not me. I know you don't believe me, but it's literally not. I didn't do that. And who is supposed to be on the other side of the door was a big mystery this week. A lot of people had said it was going to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which is because this is going to be taken directly into Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 3. We don't know what the full title is yet. Anyway, and it's not. It is Evan Peters, who plays Quicksilver in the X-Men Fox version. And he says, hey, long lost time, haven't seen you in a while, sis. And she kind of just looks at him like, Pietro? At this point, Darcy thinks it's weird. She's on the other side watching the episode and thinks it's weird that she recast her own brother. But I don't actually think that it is supposed to be him, because he doesn't really answer to Pietro. He kind of just hesitates, and he's like, yeah, come on, let me in. Then he makes a joke and calls Vision a popsicle, which is hilarious. But it's very interesting that he appears suddenly when Wanda's kind of getting pulled out of her reality and what she's facing, and how her and Vision are arguing about what they're going to do next, and how what is going to happen between the two of them, and obviously the twins. I did do some research. There's a lot of speculation that this is Mephisto, so I did have to look him up because, like I said, I don't remember everything. He was actually introduced in Ghost Rider in 2007, so that'd be like the Nicolas Cage version. And he is the one that basically, he's like the devil. He can form himself into different people. He can kind of shapeshift. There is a really weird, I found this on Wikipedia, so in case you guys are curious, you can look it up yourself if you look up Mephisto. They had a really weird section about his character, and the fact that at one point when Wanda wants to have children with Vision, she ends up creating, I'm just gonna read it for you guys because I'm never gonna remember. Let me pull it up here. It's a lot of information, that's why I'm like hurriedly scrolling for you. There's a lot about Doctor Strange in here too, that's why I'm like wondering like what the heck's gonna happen here. Basically, okay, I can't find the exact part in the article. Oh, here it is. Basically, when she uses magic to have her and Vision's children, she actually creates, unknowingly summons 2 Pandemonium soul fragments, which are born as her infant twins. And then that's basically the revelation for children's origin, followed by their loss when they are reabsorbed into him, drives her insane. So basically, they are part of Mephisto, because he manipulates the sorcerer Master Pandemonium into gathering 5 sacred fragments of his soul that were lost in an ill-fated encounter with the aforementioned Franklin. And when she attempts to use magic, she actually pulls out 2 of those pieces, so he absorbs them because those are technically his soul pieces. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen here, but I just think that was interesting. And that might have a direct correlation with everything that's going on. Is there a new, you know, kind of villain? Is Mephisto going to be some big part of Phase 4? Only time will tell. But I really enjoyed this week's episode. I don't have any other call outs really, other than that. The chips haven't changed. Everything still remained the same there. But yeah, so I will catch you guys next week for the WandaVision episode, but there will be a couple more videos appearing this week on my channel. But if you like this, let me know. Let me know what your theories are. If you think it's Mephisto, if you think it's, there's also speculation that it could be Agnes, that she's doing something, that she can change her appearance at will. We will have to just wait and see, but we only have a few more episodes left, guys. And rumor has it that the Halloween episode is supposed to be next week, so hopefully we get to see that. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are too. Stay tuned. I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.